Hey folks, I'm reading a lot of these posts about why PLG is not working or why PLG will fail in your company. And I wanted to address some of these reasons for why PLG may not or is not working, and to kind of discuss with you if these are reasons or excuses or maybe myths that are sort of permeating and being perpetrated in the product world. So I kind of see the general tenor is that PLG is only suitable for simple products, cheap products, or even maybe freemium products. But when it comes to more complex and more expensive products, it simply doesn't work. Why is that a misconception? I haven't seen a lot of complex products that have actually implemented product led growth, let alone measured if it had worked. And that will be able to, actually give us some data driven, data based evidence that PLG is not working for complex products. I really I quoted Brian's. Article here about like essentially why this is not true and that every complex process can be essentially distilled and simplified, and you can provide in-app self-serve onboarding and reactive in-app experiences that will simplify these complex processes. Yes, for very complex products, it might be more time consuming and it might be more challenging to implement these reactive in app experiences. But it is definitely possible. But as I said, like most companies do not even try, assuming it's going to be impossible. And they simply deploy a lot of customer success managers or sales engineers to help the users with the sales process. I'm giving you my experience with Clearbit as an example here. I did a pilot with Clearbit in 2022. At that point, they had barely any in app support or self serve in app experiences for onboarding or support. And I had to interact with their sales engineers and their AEs a lot in the process, including exchanging a lot of emails and jumping on, I think, 3 or 4 calls. And in fact, it wasn't that the product was so complex to implement and use. It was that it wasn't entirely the process that I wanted to implement wasn't documented, and that well, there wasn't a lot of self-serve in-app support, so I had to ask these questions that I give you an example of here in the email. um, Again, these conversations could have been a tooltip. Would it be more difficult to implement these tooltips than in a simple product? Yes, of course. Would it be still more scalable and cheaper over the longer period of time and probably more effective, resulting in higher customer satisfaction? Definitely. So the first myth that PLG works only in simple products, I think we can put that to bed. Another one, PLG works only for cheap products. Um, Again, this is not something that is entirely true. Jonathan Nimrodi, in his talk on SaaSta last year, quoted this case study by McKinsey on B2B decision makers. And essentially, 35% of B2B decision makers as of 2021, November 2021, were willing to spend over 500K self serve on software. And this trend has been increasing. So, it's been almost 2 years since this survey was released. I bet it's even higher now. Um, People in general want to be able to upgrade on their own. Um, and talking to sales is something that is becoming increasingly optional. There is this trend for essentially commodization of SaaS, B2B SaaS products. So B2B SaaS products buyers want to have the same experience with buying products for their business as they do with buying products for themselves. And another kind of myth that I wanted to bust today is the myth that PLG fails if you can't implement the self-serve sales motion. Even if you need sales assistance in your go-to-market, in your acquisition motion, it doesn't mean that PLG is not going to work for you and that it will fail, because product led growth is not only generated at the acquisition stage. If you remember the ARR are the pirate framework, right? There are a lot of stages of the user's journey at which you are generating revenue for your company. So I think we should also look at PLG in terms of product adoption and then retention, which is also a consequence of the product adoption depth, and of course user satisfaction, and expansion revenue, so upsells at all the stages of the user journey. So these two metrics can be essentially product led. So you can achieve expansion revenue in exclusive product led way without any involvement from account executives or CSMs, right, or account managers. You can also achieve higher product adoption depth and higher retention, so reduce churn in a purely product-led way as well, without involving customer success managers. So by simply providing enough guidance and a good enough user experience for people to want to stay and discover the necessary features of your products to keep unlocking value throughout the user journey without the involvement of other people. So, like in general, I think PLG can work for a company of any size. If you look at this bar chart from Gainsight's research on PLG companies, PLG is actually most adopted in companies between 250 million and 1 billion in ARR, followed by even larger companies. It seems like the mid market is really lagging behind. So, this is quite interesting that these companies believe that they are too big and too complex to implement product led growth tactics successfully, while some even bigger and more complex companies are doing that. Well, I know this rant has been super long, but I hope that gave you some food for thought and that you will not shy away from implementing PLG in your product because you think it's too complex. If you need any help or advice on how to implement it successfully in your product, let us know. We're always happy to talk, and hopefully see you next week. Bye bye.